What's up, everybody? Haven't done my old intro in a long time, but we're headed to the gym right now for some back and bicep day. Really excited. I love back and bicep day. And I set a new challenge for myself. A few things happened over the weekend. One, I went evangelizing for the first time in my 28 years of life, and I didn't talk to anybody. I kind of just let everybody else talk to people. And I realized that I'm not good at approaching people like a cold approach. I don't know how to just out of the blue talk to somebody, bring something up, or anything like that. And so, because of that, I've decided to challenge myself. The next time I go evangelizing, before that, I'm going to talk to at least 10 to 20 people. And, you know, the gym, obviously, great place to do it since I go there every day. But I kind of want to go out. I want to go out into the streets and just approach people, talk to them, you know? So, that being said, I want to get to my topic for today, which you can probably read in the title of this video. The modern coming-of-age story. Now, when you think of a coming-of-age story, you usually think of movies, all that stuff, but it actually happened in real life, culturally and historically. There was this coming-of-age ritual. Now, this is different between men and women, at least from what I've been told, because a girl kind of knows, at least from, you know, the people I've talked to. A girl just kind of knows when she's turned into a woman. That's what she said. So, not my words, her words. A girl just kind of knows when she's a woman. She just wakes up one day and says, "Oh, I'm a woman now. Not a girl. I'm an adult woman." And I thought about it and I said, you know, guys don't have that. Guys don't just suddenly feel like they're a man. No, guys have a different thing that culturally and historically was called a coming-of-age ritual. Other cultures might call it something else, but it's all basically the same thing. So, what that entailed was usually doing something extremely difficult. I imagine historically somebody would be like, they live in a village and they get sent out of the village to survive for a week and come back home with a kill, and then the whole village gets to eat and celebrate that boy becoming a man because he was able to survive for 1 week outside of the village and get a kill. And it was extremely difficult because he would be alone. But I believe that other stories similar to that is like the coming of age ritual. And that's kind of been deleted. Like, there's no real coming of age ritual anymore for boys to men nowadays. We don't really know what the modern coming of age ritual is. In fact, it's so prevalent now that there are still people that are 30 years old, 40 years old, that still behave like boys. So, I'm sure you can name a few. Sure, you've named or seen a few, but what is the modern coming of age ritual? I want to explore that. So let's dive in. What's up, everybody? I'm back. It's been a little bit, it's pretty late right now, but
pretty much just a work day, not much to record, so that leads me to my first point. But there are a lot of modern coming of age rituals, some that I've seen, some that I've gone through. And I would have to say that a lot of them that I've seen are independent, as in you don't really go through it with another person. You kind of go through it by yourself. There are a few that you can go through with a person, but for the most part, these are self-discoveries of this modern coming of age ritual. And the first one that I want to go over is the most common one, heartbreak. Now, everybody's gone through heartbreak before, if you're old enough, of course. If you're watching and you're a kid, you'll go through it eventually. But everybody has been through heartbreak. Some people, it only takes one heartbreak to propel them to become a man. And for some others, it takes multiple. For me, I've been through heartbreak before. I've had 2 girlfriends in high school, 1 girlfriend in community college, and a fling-ish in college. So I've been through my fair share of, well, even after college. Yeah, I've dated after college as well, and that one was bad. But I personally didn't go through the coming of age ritual because of a relationship, because of a romantic relationship. But when I see people, usually on TikTok, on social media, some channels I follow, some motivational stuff, I see a lot of people that have gone to the gym, that have started businesses, that have become more of a man because of heartbreak, because of a relationship that went sour, a breakup that went wrong. And you start to really realize that it's an awful feeling, 1, and 2, you don't ever, the one thing that propels you from a boy to a man is saying to yourself, I never want this to happen again. This will never happen to me again. And that usually comes from a breakup going super wrong. Usually not a mutual breakup, if you can call breakups mutual. I don't believe in a mutual breakup. It's sugar-coated sometimes to be mutual. Most people usually go for long distance, but that's another topic for another day. But usually it has to be a really bad breakup for a man to realize, or for a boy to realize, like, I never want to go through this ever again. And some people don't realize that. For me, and it was because of my friends that I couldn't realize that earlier. I've been through many breakups before, and you kind of hate how it feels afterwards. You break up, it's a bad breakup, you go home, you're depressed for a long time, the things that you want to enjoy, you don't enjoy it anymore. And things in life look kind of dull. And it hurts really bad. And you kind of don't want to feel that way ever again, but you don't really know the answer. And for me, the mistake I made was I leaned on my friends. And my friends told me that none of it was my fault. None of it was my fault. That it just didn't work out. Or it's nobody's fault. Or it's all her fault. She's the one that wasn't good enough for you. And the problem with that is, you bear none of the responsibility. You can blame yourself all a little bit, but when you talk to friends, usually because of the friends I had, when I talked to them, they would completely remove all responsibility of it from me, off of my shoulders, and even distract me. We would play video games, we would go out and hang out, in which I would drink, and anything to either numb the pain or run off and completely disregard any kind of responsibility for that relationship. And when you do that, you stop, you don't see any need to improve. Because once you finally convince yourself, once they've convinced you or you've convinced yourself that you bear no responsibility for that relationship ending and it's not completely your fault, you don't get better. You don't change. That's why I always tell people, wherever you can find responsibility, even if the majority of it isn't your fault, find a way to make it somehow a little bit your fault. That way you have an area to improve. You have something to improve for next time, so it doesn't happen again. And that's the difference between a boy and a man. A boy will not accept responsibility. A boy will run away from responsibility. A man will take responsibility. So, when I see everybody going through all these breakups and then suddenly headed to the gym, that man took responsibility. That man said, it's my fault that I'm in the situation I'm in. I'm never going to let this ever happen to me again. I'm going to find a good woman. The next woman I find, I'm going to find a good woman. And I'm going to be a good enough man for that good woman. So they hit the gym, they start businesses, they get super rich, they get super cold. And when I mean cold, I mean they are stoic. They are completely stoic. They no longer show their emotions. In fact, they feel their emotions, but they do not let it affect their decisions. In fact, whenever they start feeling their emotions, they start asking questions. Why do I feel this way? How do I stop feeling this way? Or how do I use the situation to better myself? That's a great journey. That is a great journey. And for those of you going through heartbreak right now, it sucks. I understand that. It truly sucks. But wherever you can find responsibility, and if you truly say to yourself, I will never let this happen to me again, you're on the right path. Now, there's a video that I made that's a bunch of things you should stop doing and a bunch of things you should start doing. And it's universal for everybody. So if you're going through that kind of pain right now, I highly recommend you watch those videos, and it'll get you kickstarted on what you need to start doing. And it's universal. You know, you may have a different career path. I don't know anything about that, but I know that working out, going to the gym 6 to 7 times a day, 6 to 7 times a week, you can never go wrong with that. But heartbreak is one of the, from a romantic relationship, are one of the ways that are one of the modern coming of age stories. The second method of the modern coming of age ritual is betrayal. And it's very similar. It's very similar to heartbreak. It's a different kind of heartbreak though. It's not a romantic heartbreak, but this is a friendship breakup. Like somebody that you thought you were close friends with, that you thought would be friends with a long time, stabbed you in the back. And this is what happened to me. And you could find out the whole story at the beginning of my NoFap vlogs, but I'm going to give you a short summary of what happened. So, I was interested in this girl. We met online. At this point, I'm a video game guy. I'm still a boy. So I'm playing video games every single day. I have a video game friend group. This guy was part of a video game friend group. I really enjoyed this friend group. And I meet this girl online. She's really fun to play with. She's great to talk with. She seems really cool. But I've been in online relationships before. They're long distance. They don't work out. And I was not interested in that. But we were really close together. We were really chill. And I thought, hey, I'm going to invite you to my friend group because I think you're a really cool person. Turns out she's moving to LA. And even better, she wasn't going to be moving far from me. So I thought, great. So talking, hanging out, I get into a show and I'm not available to hang out, to play video games most nights. But I got to free myself for one night. And she's in my friend group, and I told her, hey, I'm free for this one night. I would really like to spend this night playing some games with you, maybe watching a movie, because it's been a while. And she said, she said she was down, maybe. And I was just like, all right. I get home, I'm ready. I get home from work, I'm ready to hang out with her. And she says, oh, she's not really interested. She's tired. She's moving to LA soon, and she's really stressed and tired, and she doesn't want to hang out or play any video games or do anything. And I'm like, great, that's fine. That's totally fine. I completely understand. And I was a little disappointed, but it wasn't until I saw her playing video games with my friend. So she dogged me. She lied to me, basically. And at this point, I was interested in her because she was moving to LA. I thought I was interested in her. And I had seen her once in person, like when she was checking out her place. And that hit me hard because she told me she wasn't interested in playing video games. She wasn't interested in hanging out. She wasn't interested in doing anything. She just wanted to rest, relax, all that stuff. And now she's playing video games with my friend. So it's not his fault at this point. And I reacted completely emotionally, which I shouldn't have, but I reacted completely emotionally. the next instance that I got to talk to her, I did. I told her that how she made me feel, how that was kind of a cruddy thing to do, and I felt kind of bad. And then she proceeded to gaslight me and basically what she was telling me is, I don't like the way you made me feel because of the way I made you feel, so it's your fault. So I was like, well, yeah, I'm just gonna distance myself a bit. But still, I had feelings. I still had kind of feelings because it was so recent. And this isn't short at all, but I'm gonna keep going. She continuously starts hanging out with this friend of mine, and this friend of mine, I hear from mutual friends because we didn't really talk because he was busy hanging out with her. I hear from our mutual friends that he wants to talk to me because I knew her first. He wants to talk to me and about this whole thing. And I was like, great. Whenever he wants to talk to me, he can send me a message. I'm totally down to talk because he was my friend and I wanted him to know what he was getting into. But turns out that they become official before he even, I find out they become official. And then he decides to message me. So all I could think about was, because he doesn't know. So he doesn't know. He's thinking, oh, they might have something, but I want that. I want her. And I don't care how he feels. In fact, I'll do it. I'll go through with it, and I'll ask for forgiveness. And he sent me a long message, doesn't even say sorry, and says, I'm totally down to talk. He says, oh, I should have talked to you earlier, but now I want to talk. And he did not send me that. I find out the day after because I did not respond to him. I was too livid to respond with him. And I find out that he only sent me a message because our mutual friends told him, hey, you need to talk to him. You need to talk to me. You need to talk to him right now. Because they knew that I was livid. They knew I was pissed. And he sends me this long message, doesn't say sorry, says, hey, I know I should have talked to you sooner. I'm totally down to talk right now. And after everything that's already transpired, didn't even say sorry either. And I said, I didn't say anything. I blocked him immediately because I knew that if I responded, all I would be doing was cussing him out. That's it. And that's not going to benefit anyone. So I told our mutual friends, I don't want anything to do with him. And that's the end of it. I don't know if I'll ever talk to him again. If I ever do talk to him again, it's going to be a long time from now because I'm absolutely livid. But as it stands right now, I want nothing to do with him. And to this day, I haven't spoken to him since. In fact, I went through a downward spiral. I stopped sleeping on my bed, started sleeping on my couch, plugged my laptop to my TV, started watching anime, started watching entire TV series, drank myself drunk quite a lot, and watched porn. And yeah, it was a downward spiral. And it wasn't until somebody woke me up. I was watching basically I was watching a very abrasive person. I'm sure you know him. I'm sure everybody knows him by now. But I heard talk of a very abrasive person, and he told me that I was a loser. He told me that I was a loser and that he's going to keep on winning, and I'm going to keep playing video games and watching porn and stop and being a loser, and he's going to get every girl that I'll ever have. And that woke me up to how much of a loser that I was. Initially I was angry at him, but then I realized he was right. I'm angry because he's right. And I realized I don't ever want to feel that way again. I'm going to find friends that I know will always have my back, but not only that, I'm going to find women who don't dog me like that. So it was kind of both ends, two kind of like the tag team. But because of that wake-up call, I started my NoFap vlogs, as you guys saw, and started going to the gym more, started doing business, and I started working on my career a lot more seriously, and I basically got my life together because of that thing that because of that saying, it's like, I never want to feel this way again. Like I said with the heartbreak, I never want to feel this way again, and I'm going to take steps to never feel this way again. Because if I continue on and just let this pain subside and continue doing the things that I've been doing, who's going to stab me in the back next? Who's going to gaslight me next? If I don't learn to find better friends, if I don't learn to invest in better women, then this is going to happen again. And I never want that feeling to ever happen again. So that's the reason why I'm here now. And that's the reason why I'm talking to you guys now, because of that betrayal. And I'm glad that betrayal happened. Honestly, looking at the whole picture, I'm glad that betrayal happened. I will never talk to him again. And even though I miss a lot of the people that I was playing video games with, I probably won't talk to them that much either. I mean, I'll drop in and say hi. But at the very least, I don't play that much video games anymore. So, in fact, I don't play video games at all. And they play video games quite a lot. So, we don't really have that common interest anymore. I'm doing things to level up myself. They're doing things to level up an avatar. So, I am certainly a lot more fulfilled, less happy, but more fulfilled. And I think betrayal is one of those methods because it's worked for me. So I'm lumping it in there. Betrayal, getting betrayed is one of the methods. And coming out from the other side and saying, this will never happen to me again. I'm going to start taking steps to do so. That's the second method. That leads me to my third and final point. Now, there's a lot of other modern day boys to men kind of journeys, and I'm just talking about the ones that I know of. I'm sure everybody has that coming of age ritual, modern coming of age ritual that's completely unique to them, and I would love to hear it in the comment section below. So whatever, if you feel like you have that story, I would love to hear about it, because like these stories are extremely inspiring, and I hope that what I'm telling you guys, especially if you're going through that pain right now, I hope it's inspiring for you. But third point for the modern coming of age ritual is split into two parts. One is the acceptance of legacy, and the second point is the rejection of legacy. So let's start with the first point, acceptance of legacy. So your father was not born, but your father has worked his butt off. He has made the right moves. He understood the world. He's a very smart man. He made a life for his entire family. That includes you. And basically, you live in the lap of luxury. You were born into privilege. You were born into riches. But the acceptance of legacy only happens when you have a good father. When that father is good to you. When he doesn't spoil you. When he understands, if I want this legacy to continue, it needs to be through my son. And my son needs to go through the same exact hardships that I had to go through. Needs to learn the same lessons that I had to go through when I didn't have money. So even though there's a luxurious life in front of you, even though you have lived in the belly of privilege, even though there are riches surrounding you, you understand that it was because of your father and his hard work and his work ethic, his responsibility, his relentlessness in general. He's that guy, and you're not that guy. You are not that guy. So you can inherit all of it. So you see this all the time. You can inherit all that money. But in order to become that man, your father has, and this is really, down to the father. This isn't just on you, but your father's instilled in you responsibility, strength, courage, stoicism, all of those traits. And he said, you don't get any of these riches. You don't get any of these riches unless I respect you. I will provide for you. I will feed you. I will clothe you, all of these things. But in order to enjoy the luxuries, you must work for it. And because of that, you struggle basically just like everybody else does. Maybe you do go through heartbreak, but for the most part, you understand that you have a life to live up to. You have a lifestyle to live up to. These riches didn't come from nowhere. it came from your father. The sacrifices he's made, the blood, sweat, and tears he put into whatever he was working on to make sure that he could provide for you and the entire family, your mother, sisters, brothers, whatever. He provides that. And you understand, no matter how old you are, if you're, still a child or still growing up, you understand that it takes sacrifice, that it takes work, that it takes blood, sweat, and tears, that this life isn't easy. Even though you looking around you, it can be easy. All you have to do is just nod, smile, yes, sir, and then wait for him to die. You get the inheritance, and then you can blow it all away. But when you accept the legacy of your father, when you accept the legacy that's been passed down to you, and you put that on your shoulders and you start working the same way your dad started working, and he shows you maybe even how to run his business, how to run his empire, and you accept that and you run it especially well, and he teaches you really well, and you appreciate all the things he's done for you, you have high respect for your father, that is accepting legacy. And that can turn you into a man. I don't know when that happens. It maybe happens when your father finally employs you, or you go and find a job for yourself, or you start pursuing your own goal to live the way your father is allowing you to live. But when you decide that you want that for yourself, and you don't want any help, you don't want your father to help you, even though he can pay for all of that for you, that's when that's when you say, all right, I'm going to become a man. I'm like my father. I'm going to become a man just like my father. That's accepting legacy. And the split off of that is rejecting legacy. Now, some people don't have the best fathers. Some people don't have fathers around. And maybe they've heard terrible stories about their fathers. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it is true. For some reason or another, maybe your parents split. But I've seen a lot of people who don't have fathers, or who have alcoholic fathers, or who had fathers that beat them, or who had fathers that were very abusive, or just failures of fathers. And maybe it's not even abuse. Maybe it was just a father that got super drunk, never beat his children, loved his children, but got drunk because of something that was going on in his life. And he realized he can't take care of himself. I have to start taking care of him. That's rejection of legacy. You don't want to follow in your father's footsteps. In fact, in that kind of situation where he's not abusive but he's getting drunk, or he's just high on drugs, and he's doing his best. He's going to work every day, but he's coming home from work and he's drunk, and he's coming home from work and he's high. That's when you start taking care of that. When you start taking care of him. And I heard stories of this, children taking care of their parents, accepting that responsibility. That's a case when a boy becomes a man young, especially if he has siblings to take care of as well. That's when a boy becomes a man super young. And it's unfortunate because, sometimes childhood should be cherished. Childhood is a great time. It's a fun time. It's the only time that men are kind of truly happy. They get to be happy. They're allowed to be happy. But when you become a man, it's better to be more fulfilled than happy, I would argue, because I've chased happiness before as an older young adult, and it ain't worth it. I would choose fulfillment any day. Fulfillment's way better than happiness. But childhood is great. It's a great time to be happy. It's a great time to, not be worried about too much. But the cost of that is powerlessness. And being a powerless man being a powerless person is rough, especially for males. But when you accept those responsibilities, even though you're not old enough to handle them, even though you should, you're old enough to handle them, but you shouldn't have to. But when you do, you become a man very early. You become accepting of responsibilities, doing what you have to do to survive, accepting the realities of the world. And I've seen it happen before. And, those people get degrees as doctors. Those people are super successful in life, all because that they don't want to end up like their father, or they were the ones that had to take care of him. well, I mean, it's the same. They don't want to end up like your father. But rejection of legacy is a way for a boy to become a man, is to see what the effects of not becoming a man does, especially if you have kids and you've not become a man yet. It basically shows you what happens when a boy has children instead of a man. And you say, I don't want that. I want to be a good father. I want to be there for my children. I want to be responsible. I want to be the good role model for my children, or even like my younger siblings. And I have a lot of respect for those people. I have a lot of respect for they had to basically sacrifice their childhood for manhood. For manhood, because if there was no man of the house, they wouldn't have survived. So sometimes that destiny is thrust upon them. I mean, a lot of them could be self-inflicted, but in this particular case, I think it's very much thrust upon them. They were born this way, and they had to do what they had to do to survive. So I have a huge amount of respect for people that go through the rejection of legacy. And it doesn't even have to be such an impoverished thing either. I mean, you could have an alcoholic dad and you have two brothers. One brother looks at their dad and says, my dad's an alcoholic, that's why I'm an alcoholic. And then this brother says, my dad's an alcoholic, so I'm not an alcoholic. So it really depends on your perspective. Your perspective. Do you see, when you look at your father, do you see a hero? Do you see a loser? And I hope that you see your father as a hero. My father is certainly one. But, when you, it's easy when you're growing up to have those rose-tinted glasses. But that is certainly a way for a boy to become a man. Outside, not against, certainly against his will, but it's effective. But I would like to know what your coming of age story was. I want to know what your ritual was, or what you had to go through. And, you could be, you don't have to give me all the details unless you want to, but I would like to know what you had to go through to get to where you want to become the man you are now. And if you're not there yet, well, look out for that. Look out for those times where things get difficult, where it's going to be a lot of pain, where you have to realize that you need to start taking responsibility, that you need to go through this pain and learn something from it. Because there's always something to learn from everything that happens to you. When you take responsibility for everything that happens to you, that's when you can learn something. Because if it's not your fault, then you don't have anything to learn. But if there is any small way that the situation you're in is your fault, and you have something to fix, you have something to work on, and that is a great feeling. That is a great place to be. Because if you don't stop growing, if you're just constantly growing as a person, you're set. You're great. You're golden. So keep growing, keep grabbing responsibility, especially if you haven't gone through anything like that yet. Keep grabbing onto responsibilities, and you'll see how much you can grow. So, I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.